am Dawn Watson.
And I'm Michelle Murphy.
Together we are Murphy, Watson and Company. How are you doing today, Michelle?
Oh, I am just swell because I have one of my most interesting friends here today, other than you.
She has to say that.
And company means Bill Henderson.
Yes, so we are here today. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you.
Bill is the founder of the Pushcart Press and also the Pushcart Prize. And this year he is celebrating his 40th anniversary running this very prestigious publication.
Yeah, we started, our first publication was in July 4th, Independence Day, in 1973, with a book called The Publish It Yourself Handbook.
That's interesting. It was Independence Day.
Yeah.
And your message
that was our pub day, yeah.
Yeah.
Independence.
On purpose?
On purpose. This book told authors how to do without commercial publishers. And most importantly, without vanity publishers, of which we have 1 trillion now. Unfortunately, everybody's paying these hucksters, Amazon, CreateSpace, and others to so-called publish their books, but it's not really publishing. It's just a print on demand, and there's seldom a demand. There's always exceptions, but
Seldom a demand. That's interesting. But people can say I'm a published author.
Yeah,
is that it?
well,
that's the vanity
Well, every
thing?
Tom, Dick, and Harry can now say that, right?
just hit your internet, your blog, and you're published. So, which I think is horrible for writers, because to be a writer is to be thoughtful and to take your time, and nobody's taking their time anymore. But anyway, the idea of the Publish It Yourself Handbook was to do without commercial publishers of all sorts, including Doubleday, where I was an editor at that time. We published the book on weekends, my then wife and I, from a little studio apartment in Yonkers, New York, with the last of our funds. And it sold, over the years, 75,000 copies, which was incredible because it's a very homely little book made from home on an electric typewriter, set with an electric typewriter and press type. I did the cover myself. And
Do you have it here?
I don't have
No.
they're kind of rare now, but it went through 4 editions, and it is still available from Pushcart, Wayne-Scott, New York, 11975, as are all my books. But W.W. Norton Company is my distributor in New York. So that started things. That was the capital, if you will, was an idea. The Publish Yourself Handbook is a collection of about 25 authors who have done their own books from their own presses, not vanity, and cookbooks, poetry, novels, Anais Nin, Leonard and Virginia Woolf, Stuart Brand, who did the Whole Earth catalog himself with friends, and so that got us rolling. That was the bankroll right there. So, wow! And in '76 we started the Pushcart Prize, which is still going, 38th year right now.
We've had some very illustrious authors that you have kind of broken. Can you
broke.
Can you give us a little detail, some hints on some of the people you've worked with and published?
Well, just about everybody who's known has been in the Pushcart Prize. John Irving, for instance, in the very early editions.
Raymond Carver.
Oh, Ray Carver was one of the first 4 stories in the early days before he died. And Joyce Carol's is a regular, and there have been well over 2,000 writers in the Pushcart Prize over the 38 years, since 1976.
Can you just tell our viewers,
Many of whom are writers.
Yes, right, exactly. The difference between getting the Pushcart Prize and being honored to be published in the Pushcart Press, and the difference in numbers.
The Pushcart Prize is a collection that gets 8,000 nominations every year from little magazines and small book presses around the country. And we select poetry, essays, and short stories and memoirs to be in the book, which is about 650 pages long. That's what the Pushcart Prize is. We honor up to, this year it's going to be 68 authors out of the 8,000 that come in.
8,000?
Yeah.
And only 68?
68,
and who else assists you in sifting through?
Well, every year we have poetry editors, which are changed every year because they burn out. It's just too much. And many prose readers who are past winners of the Pushcart Prize. And we switch those every year, too.
So it's an honor to be selected because you have to have already been a winner.
That's, well, to be a prose reader, you have to be. Anyway, we have readers and co-editors of poetry every year to help out. Otherwise, it would be totally impossible. It's impossible anyway, because there's so much good stuff out there. It's just gotten better and better over the years.
Really?
Yeah.
In spite of the vanity stuff, which we'll get into.
In spite of the crap that's going on with electronic publishing and the people who do Amazon and all the vanity publishing and Twitter, for God's sake, a culture that's devoted to Twitter must be a very silly culture. And I think that's what email and all the rest of the speed stuff is doing to us. I tell writers that speed kills. But everybody's in love with speed now. Everything has to be done instantly. And that's why I don't have email or a computer. And we started something a few years back called the Lead Pencil Club, which is international. And we're resisting computers and have been since 1995 when minutes of the Lead Pencil Club came out. And Bill Gates and I went toe-to-toe in the Book of the Month Club bulletin.
Really?
I knew he'd probably win, but I don't know if he's...
Hey, you put up a valiant effort.
Yes.
So that's...
Right.
And that's pretty incredible to say in the same sentence. Bill Gates and I.
Well, right.
That's something.
He's doing pretty good work now with all his billions of dollars in charity, so I don't want to knock Bill Gates anymore. But that was one of our...
Steve Jobs you might knock, because he kind of got the society
isn't he?
changing.
Yeah, he passed.
I can't knock him now.
All right, okay.
But you know, I'm sure, I know you know this already, Michelle, but Bill is also, I mean, you've got quite a lot of prestige behind yourself personally, and of course the Pushcart Press and the Pushcart Prize, because let me just make sure I read this correctly. You've won the Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Book Critics.
That was a surprise.
Well, that's cool. We're going to talk about that. And you've also won the Barnes & Noble Writers for Writers Prize. So you've got a few, you know, accolades packed onto your press as well.
You are, quote, the most honored that there is in this country or maybe in the world.
Well, the Pushcart Prize is now that.
Yeah.
The Pushcart Prize is probably the most honored literary project in the country, but that's not me. That's 1,000 editors who, 800 small presses make nominations, and I have 220 contributing editors every year who make suggestions too.
Yes.
So it's a cooperative. I like to call it the last 60s, 70s cooperative. We're really a co-op. Nobody makes any money, especially me. And we all do it just because we love the written word. And so that's what's honored, not me. Okay.
Well, but you are kind of synonymous. I don't want to put this in your words in your mouth, but you're synonymous with this. This is your baby. You founded this project.
My baby. It was astonishing that the thing took off. In '76, Harvey Shapiro was editor, who just died, was editor of the Times Book Review, and he took it under his wing. And I don't think it would have happened without Harvey, because it was very fortuitous. It came out during his watch, and he ran reviews and features in the Times Book Review, big ones, of the Pushcart Prize every year for 6-7 years.
His memorial is coming up very soon by
I'm say a
Galen
few
Williams.
words. Yeah.
Yes. You will be speaking.
Yes. So Harvey really helped, as did a lot of people in the much maligned commercial industry who saw the need for this. And there's still a tremendous need because the commercial industry is compacted now into 5 or 6 huge houses who must make money to satisfy their stockholders. And it's a sad situation for literature because I think books are holy, books are sacred, and to make money off them is almost blasphemous.
How do you feel about the Kindle?
I don't feel about the Kindle. I try to keep it out of my life.
Yeah. And newspapers online and all of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the physical book is something that's beautiful. It's there. I have books at home. Jeannie and I have a lot of books, and we look up at the shelf, and there they are, books we've read. books that have meant a lot to us. You can see them. You
Jeannie
can-
Henderson, that
yeah.
is, yes.
Yeah, my wife. And we honor the books. We honor the memory, and we take the books down and read them again. I'm reading some books now that I read a long time ago, and so the physical book is very important
How many hours a day do you spend reading?
all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, when I'm not in Maine, I get out of East Hampton in the summer because I can't stand it, and I don't know how anybody else can either, for that matter.
Well, we got you just in time.
We
Yeah,
did.
that's right. Yeah, I'm
Yay.
leaving, friends. I'm off the Montauk Highway, one less car.
Yeah.
I'm going to a little cabin I have in Maine.
So you'll be back, though, before the 2014, we're in 2013 Pushcart Prize.
Yeah, I
we've
come
got
back
here.
in November, October.
In November, too, to make the announcement and the awards and all that, okay.
Yeah.
You have got to hear, Don, how he lives in Maine. I've heard about this.
Ask
but
my wife.
Would you care to tell us about your lifestyle there? It's really wonderful. It's very Walt Whitman-esque or
Well,
Thoreau.
I don't know about Walt, but Thoreau maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very simple cabin on a hill overlooking the ocean. Around the Bar Harbor area, you can see the Acadia Mountain in the distance, and it's heaven. There's no running water. There's an outhouse, and which keeps guests away. People want to come to visit. They will only have an outhouse. Oh, we'll run a motel. So keeps people away.
Don't you have a bookshop there as well?
Yeah, I have a little tiny bookstore in the
Yeah.
town of Sedgwick, and I call it the smallest bookstore in the world. I haven't looked at Guinness to see if that's in the Guinness Book of World Records, but it's very, very tiny.
Do you spend your days there at the bookstore?
Sometimes I do, but mostly I write in the summer.
Oh, you write in the summer.
I've published a few memoirs.
I've
The
read
most recent,
a wonderful one of your childhood, and you come from a family where I believe your father was a minister.
Well, he wanted to be. He was too shy.
Yes,
He was,
that's
he
right.
was actually an engineer for
It was
General
a
Electric.
wonderful memoir.
Yeah.
And I read it when it first came out a
Yes,
while back.
Yeah, Norton published that in '81. My most recent is about all my dogs, one of which is right here on the floor. Sedgwick.
May I show you
There.
what I always keep?
That's my dog Lulu, my love of my life. She died.
Well, and Sedgwick isn't too bad either. He's very well behaved,
He's
very
a very
friendly,
sweet
handsome.
little Portuguese water dog.
Yeah, he's lying on the floor here in the studio for those who can't see him.
I thought he'd knock down all the cameras by now, but he's behaving himself. Don't say it. Don't say the word. DEER gets him up looking around.
Oh, SQUIRREL always got my
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah,
always
yeah.
the big
Oh,
one.
and FOOD gets my dog.
That gets me too.
While we're at it, DOGPARK, he loves that word
Aw.
too. That's
And you live near enough that you
Oh, we
can
go there
enjoy
every day.
that.
And
Oh,
The DOGPARK is one of the great things about East Hampton. I think we got the world record, the biggest DOG park.
it's beautiful.
It's wonderful
for humans
over there.
as well.
The fact that we have this 40 acres set aside for DOGs is incredible.
Boy.
And we go over there every day, he meets all his friends.
What
tries to make them
fun. And I
girlfriends.
bet you have a lot of other dog lover friends that you've made there.
Yeah, oh, yeah. We don't
And
know.
you,
each-
Mr. Social.
Yeah, we don't know each other's names. We know the dogs' names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it goes. And you just kind of nod at each other and
Yeah,
you
and
say
then
hello
say,
to the dogs.
I'm Bozo. Or,
You have a wonderful literary crowd out here, you and Jeannie.
used to be more.
Yeah.
They died.
Yeah, but that's been, I'm sure, very much a reason to want to be here for many people.
Well, in
the
the
history
early days, when George Plimpton and Vonnegut and Joe Heller were around, it was quite. Irwin Shaw was here, for goodness sake. They've all passed on, but it was quite something. Truman Capote was hanging out at Bobby Van's, the old Bobby Van's across the street. And
I
it was
even
quite
remember
something.
that.
Yeah, that was the late 70s, early 80s. We moved out here in the early 80s, so it was quite something. But now we've lost a lot, I think.
Do you think it's partly because it takes so much money to live out here?
Certainly,
that-
the money is
like the artists who
incredible.
can't come anymore?
No,
It's
no,
all
you can't.
bankers,
Who can
lawyers?
live here?
Yeah.
We bought our house 82, I guess it was.
Yeah,
And,
79.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
couldn't afford it
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Still can't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know
It's a
how
different world.
anybody who lives on a marginal budget, like any respectable writer does,
Or artist.
can't live, or artist, or
Yeah.
can't live, or a musician,
Yeah.
can't live here anymore. And we just have these hedge fund dudes who come out here and put up their incredible monstrosities south of the highway for the most part. And,
You have people who are big in the publishing world who live here. We have some mutual friends, but that probably is a more lucrative career.
well, not
Somewhat.
anymore. They're all hanging
Somewhat.
on by their teeth
Oh, yeah.
because of ebooks and such.
Oh, I
which
bet.
have, and Amazon taking over the world.
Do you ever feel, Bill, that we are going to lose books completely, which I hope, Lord, not, because I actually am a book reader, and I'm a newspaper reader. I'm not an electronic
Well, I
reader,
was
but-
terrified for a while there, but I think bookstores, independent stores are starting to hold their own, and people are starting to come back to the real book and not satisfied with the plastic and battery monstrosity. I think we'll probably always have books. I don't know. Boy, I sure hope so.
Well, we just lost the Bookhampton in Sag Harbor,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was a tragedy for many
Yeah.
of us.
But hopefully to be rebooted, hopefully, because they're looking for a space.
Are they?
Yes,
Oh,
they're
good.
looking for space. It was just too
Charlene.
large.
Yeah.
So they still have the East Hampton store, they still have the Southampton store, and they're still.
Mattituck still?
I think Mattituck. You know, I'm less concerned about North Fork than I am South Fork, just because of my
Well,
day
they're
job.
a noble enterprise.
Yes.
Bookhampton.
Aren't
And
they?
Caneos,
Yeah.
and yeah, there are lots of our. I think because of who lives here, those of us who aren't the hedge funders,
Yeah.
I think that the arts, bookstores, these kinds of creative places flourish because of the kind of people who are here and are
Yeah.
interested in these things
Yeah.
still. So, which, thank goodness for that.
Right,
So,
yeah.
so don't go away for good, just, go away for the summer, that's fine.
Well, you can't live here in the summer. I mean, Main Street, East Hampton, I don't want to get off of books, but is an atrocity, and they have all these clothing stores. What is that? All these high-end clothing stores. Are people afraid to be naked? Is that the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just every store is a high-end clothing store,
Yeah.
$2,000, $5,000 for a sweater.
Right.
Give me a break.
So are you
Yeah.
saying, do you want to share something? Do you want to tell the world that you write naked or anything like that? Is that what we're going to expose this truth?
I was actually going to do the whole show naked, but you girls wouldn't let me. Anyway.
We'd let you, we just wouldn't want to do it
I
ourselves.
know.
No, it's all clothing and real estate, and it's all bizarre to walk down Main Street.
I'm noticing
in
a
East
few
Hampton.
art galleries popping up.
Oh yeah.
Now, what do you think of those?
I don't know. I'm not. I have no authority to talk about art. You do.
Okay.
You do. You're fine.
Well, I'll tell you what I think of those another time.
Another time. We'll have to get together again.
All right, all right.
Well, who are your favorite authors now? Or what are you reading right
Yeah,
now?
good question.
Right now, I'm reading a book published in 1902 by William James called Varieties of Religious Experience.
Well, that's a really popular title.
Yeah. And worse than that, it's a series of lectures he gave in Scotland in 1901.
How did you get your hands on this book? Because I'm guessing it's probably
Well,
out
it's
of
voted
print.
one of the best books of the 20th century, second best book of the 20th century.
Can you repeat that title and the author one more time? please?
Varieties of Religious Experience by William James.
Okay.
And he goes through all the types of religious experience. I'm an elder in the local Presbyterian church, by the way, just to shock people.
And as I was saying before, you come from a family
my father
where...
was very religious, but
So you're quite a religious man.
well, I don't know how to say that. Probably as much as you are, really, or Dawn. We're in a mystery here.
Aren't we?
We're in the world of wonder, and
But I
I find
think
that if religion is done right, will increase the wonder and your love for other people too. So that's all I got to say about
Isn't he
Presbyterians.
something else?
I love this.
So you are so unique.
I am.
And you are unique. And the more I talk to you, I first met you, I think, on the Jitney or something in the early 80s when you told me about your autobiography and lent it to me.
Oh, did I really?
You did.
Shocking.
Yes. It was a shock.
Yeah.
And you're so reclusive, I seldom get a chance to find out about life from you. I think you could teach a course in a special kind of wisdom that is not out there readily. And it's so nourishing and refreshing to hear your slant on things, because it's
I
not
haven't got much to say except what I just said, love and wonder.
love. Well, you didn't say love before, so love. Tell me
And
about
lead
love.
pencils.
What?
And don't forget lead pencils.
And the lead pencils, of course.
Love, wonder, and lead pencils. That'd be a great
the point
memoir
is, don't
title,
let
right?
machines take your life away.
What's the
you
love,
are
though?
not a gadget to you.
Is the love, where's the love come in?
From up there, I guess. I don't know. It's all we've got. We've only got each other.
Yeah.
We're adrift here and come vast, huge, unimaginable vastness, and we've just got each other.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what I see in the little church. This is not my father's church anymore. We never mention hell.
Yeah.
But we take care of each other, and we take care of that little church in Springs. Takes care of the community. We have a food pantry, and it's the center for a whole lot of. It is the center of the community in Springs. So that's
Well,
my.
I like
that's
what you're
what
saying
religion
about love. It's not just about one's immediate family. It's,
should be for everybody.
yeah.
Should be all the people killed by drones in Pakistan, for that
Right.
matter. If you can reach that far, if they were across the street, which they're not that far away, you'd feel it for the little kids and the families wiped out by guys in Idaho pressing a button. You know, that sort of thing. But we try. But around here, everybody runs around flipping the bird. Excuse me, camera.
Yeah.
You know, block that out.
Yeah.
You know, and angry because they can't get to their cocktail parties on time.
Well, getting away in the summer like you do must refresh your spirits toward the things that you find really important.
Maine is beautiful. For
Very
that.
hard
Yeah.
to keep your finger on the pulse of what's really important out here, particularly in the summer,
Yeah.
when there's such competition.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Well, I don't think that, for me personally, not to interject, but I don't think that comes from us. I think that comes from our visitors. And I think that there are two very separate types of people who are here at this time of the year. And we see that frustration amongst ourselves. But when you're up in your cabin, do you, obviously you don't have to worry about the crush on Montauk Highway, but are you electric? Do you communicate with the rest of the world at all?
I have a telephone, a landline.
Okay, so you do have, you're not completely,
No,
entirely
no.
away.
I've called you and Jeannie up there.
Yeah, landline.
You're
too.
not always home, but when I get you, it's a thrill.
No,
I was gonna say, I bet there's no voicemail.
no voicemail. No.
There are several folks from out here who go up there, who you probably see. Very interesting people.
We have a little
friends of
tiny
mine.
literary colony in.
Jan
in the
Buckalow. Yeah.
Yeah, but mostly people in Maine in the summer stay. There's no big social scene.
No?
We tend to keep to ourselves.
Okay.
Go up there to escape that.
Where did you grow up?
I
Are you
never
in-
grew up.
Nice, that's a great answer.
Suburban Philadelphia, you should excuse the expression.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was very boring.
Yeah.
And thank God for New York. We knock New York people all the time, but New York was a blessing for me to get out of suburban Philadelphia. And New York is my daughter now lives in Bushwick with her husband. And it's a very nurturing community in New York. It's not really a community, but for young people who don't want to be locked in Wichita anymore. You know, it's
Especially
a beautiful.
Brooklyn.
And these days, Brooklyn is amazing.
My daughter, who's 24, keeps your Pushcart press next to her bed in Brooklyn and at home here in Amagansett.
Good,
She
good.
always has it there, and she wanted me to tell you she's your greatest fan.
Thank you. Thank
She
you.
loves what you do.
Good.
So there's from a
Well,
24-year-old.
thank you. Yeah. Well, every issue of the Pushcart Prize is new because, and that's what keeps it going for 38 years now, is the newness. Because every year there are new, beautiful, beautiful writers, young writers for the most part. I've never heard of 90% of the writers coming to the Pushcart. I never heard of them before.
Do they all come to you? Do you ever ask for submissions?
No,
How does
no,
this,
no.
if one
Well,
is
I
a
asked for
writer-
nominations.
You ask for nomination.
then
And
we-
it's free for them to.
Yeah, you send it.
They don't have
No
to.
forms, no money, no nothing. And we read it. That's all we do. It's just a mess of people reading a mess of stuff.
Well, Bill is also keeping, think about this, and this is kind of an interesting thing. With your passion and with your love of books, you're also helping another dying industry, which is the United States Postal Service.
Oh, yeah.
Because I bet your mailman hates you.
Yeah.
It's loaded up with books all the time.
Well, yeah,
But happy to.
I only use the post office and FedEx too.
Yeah,
you
and
know.
keeping poetry so alive, which
Yeah,
takes a great deal of time.
Yeah.
We have to slow down.
Well,
for
I thank my
poetry.
poetry editors for that. And they do a great job. And it's impossible, but we try every year.
What do you think about music today with poetry and rappers and
Great.
Yeah, that's kind of bringing poetry back in its own way, right?
Anything you can do to bring people alive, good thing. Like hymns, I love to sing hymns.
Yeah.
You can look at a hymn on the page, and it's totally dull. It's nothing. But when you get in church with a bunch of people and start to sing, it becomes something incredibly more. Like Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace saved a wretch like me. Okay, all right. Sing it, and it's something entirely new.
We just named our dog Amazing Grace after that song.
Oh, that's funny. What a segue.
Yes. And you've written a book about dogs in our last minute or two. And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's called All My Dogs, A Life. It's really my autobiography of a mere 140 pages. Short life. But it's about all the dogs I've known in my life, 13 dogs, and how they've changed me and what they've meant to me.
Sedgwick,
They're all
by the way,
different.
perked up as soon as you said that.
Yes, I noticed.
He
Dog
raised
park.
his head. How can one find this book? How can one buy this book?
Bookhampton can find any of my books. They're all in print. Either
Or Canio's, perhaps?
Yeah, Canio's
Yes.
has, and Simon & Schuster did a previous book before All My Dogs about hymns I love to sing.
Weren't you in the choir as a child?
I was in the band.
In the band.
playing
What'd you
trumpet.
play?
Trumpet.
Trumpet.
And I was a drum major, too.
Okay. I kind of am
football.
remembering music from your autobiography. What was that called, your earliest autobiography?
Called His Son.
That's it.
Next one is Her Father. And then there was Tower, which is this little book that Forrest Strauss brought out about the tower I built in Maine, next to my
Oh
cabin.
my gosh, this tower.
Wow.
Tower.
Wow.
I
Tower.
have read about this tower. Do you have
Yeah.
time to quickly tell us about it? He built his own tower.
Yeah, I saw this hill.
Maine.
I saw this hill in I think it was 1995, and I decided to have a tower on top of it in the wilderness of Maine, totally pristine. And I wanted to build it, so I built a tower on it. It's not much of a tower, but it's 450 feet over the sea. Now the mountain it's on, the hill it's on, accounts for about 430 feet.
Have
Right,
tourists
that.
discovered this? Do they
Yeah.
make a deadline
There
there?
was a big to-do about
Yeah.
it in the Times and elsewhere, and they used to come and look through the bushes at me like I was some kind of gorilla sitting there.
Well, I was going to say Renaissance man. But,
And on that note, I think we're out of time.
Oh.
You're very modest also, and we're so honored to have you here.
Thank you.
thrilled. We're really
Yeah.
thrilled. Thank you so much.
you.
Yeah, you're a legend, Bill.
Oh, stop.
You are. You are.